guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video where we are going to be discussing all things diabetes burnout. One thing I did just want to say before we get into the video is I'm really sorry if you can hear the fan and it's super annoying, but it is so hot right now and I did want to turn the fan off to film, but like my room is the attic room and there is no air in here and I feel like I just can't do it, so I'm really sorry if that's super annoying. Please just try and tune it out. But yeah, let's just get into the video. So diabetes burnout is basically the feeling that you are exhausted with your diabetes. It's a lot of negative feelings around your diabetes. You kind of want to give up, and you know, diabetes is a 24/7 condition. There are literally no breaks. It is like having a full-time job, but you get no weekend and no holiday. It's one of those things where sometimes you can literally put in all of the effort and do all of the work and it still goes wrong. If you've seen any of my day in the life of a type 1 diabetic vlogs, you'll know there's been days where I try my absolute hardest and my blood sugars still don't play ball anyway, and it can just get super frustrating in that way. And it's not just that it's frustrating, it's the fact that our health actually depends on us having good control over our blood sugars and over this condition. And so when things go wrong, not only is it frustrating and annoying, but it can actually be scary and feel so overwhelming. And even when things aren't going wrong, it can just feel like a lot of work and it can create a lot of really negative feelings. You can kind of feel like diabetes is controlling you, like if you're having hypos that are stopping you from doing certain things, or if you're high and you don't have the kind of energy that you would normally have and it makes you feel tired and drained. It can feel sometimes like diabetes dictates your life, and that's not a way that anyone wants to live or feel. It can make you feel really isolated as well, especially if you don't know too many people with diabetes, or anyone with diabetes for that matter. This can actually lead to a lot of people actually giving up or partially giving up, where they don't want to bother carb counting, or they don't want to bother testing their blood sugars, or they don't want to bother calculating their insulin ratios, or even doing their insulin injections anymore, because it can just feel so much. And this can often happen when life in general gets really busy, like exam season, or when you're moving house, or you've got a lot of job pressure going on. A lot of these things that happen in life that are generally things to be celebrated and enjoyed can make it harder to manage diabetes, and kind of creates this catch-22 where you want to enjoy things but you feel like you can't enjoy them and keep your blood sugar steady, and then that leads you into a whole cycle of stress, and it's just kind of a vicious circle. And it also happens when you're having periods of time when you are putting in all the effort that you possibly can to your diabetes and things don't go right. I find this personally happens quite a lot when I have my period, and I haven't really spoken about periods much and diabetes, but they are something that can be really tricky to manage. So if that is something you want to see and you want me to make a video all about managing your blood sugars around your period and that kind of thing, then let me know in the comments below and I will make sure to do that one ASAP. For now, let's get into how you can avoid diabetes burnout and all of these negative thoughts and feelings that I've just kind of gone on about, because yeah, I like to keep this channel positive, and although there are negative sides to diabetes, definitely, I mean, like obviously, I want to show you how you can avoid them. So the first thing that you can do to help manage burnout or avoid burnout completely is to stop and think about how well you are actually doing and how far you have come. If you have seen my type 1 diabetes journey, you will have seen that I went through a period where my blood sugars were really bad a few years ago, maybe somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, and my HbA1c was really high, but I have worked on getting them better, and at first I didn't take the time to stop and acknowledge how far I had actually come. And now I look back, I can't even imagine being that person anymore and having that diabetes control or lifestyle anymore. And it's just really worth taking a step back, acknowledging how far you have come and how much more knowledgeable and in control you are of your own condition than a year ago, 2 years ago, or since your diagnosis, or however long it's been. You need to also learn to manage your expectations. You can't expect yourself to actually work like a normal pancreas. It is physically impossible. Even with all of the technology and all of the doctor's advice and the strictest diet and the strictest routine, you cannot be like a pancreas. You just can't do it. So don't expect yourself to be something that you simply can't be. I read recently a book called Think Like a Pancreas, which completely changed my life. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos now because I am so desperate for everybody who has diabetes to read this book, because it not only taught me things and tools to manage my blood sugars even better. It also taught me so much about my mindset around diabetes and how to improve my mindset and have a healthier mindset with my diabetes and lose some of the over controlling nitpicky thoughts that I was having around my blood sugar control, and acknowledge how well I am doing and realise that in the grand scheme of things my health is really good. And that book kind of showed me all of these things and taught me loads of things I can do to help manage my mindset around diabetes and blood sugar management. So if you do want to pick that book up, I will of course leave a link in the description box below, because I think it is honestly one of the best books ever written by anyone ever. Like I said, diabetes is like a 24/7 job with no breaks and no rest, and if you are doing that with no support, that is so incredibly difficult. So one thing I would suggest to do to prevent burnout, full stop, is to talk to your friends and family about it. Even people that don't have diabetes and don't understand the condition, you must know the feeling of relief when you are worried about anything at all, and if you just kind of not dump it on someone else, but you can have a rant to someone else who's removed from the situation, who's not going to be affected by the rant that you're giving them, and can just sit back and listen and support you and sympathise and just say, look, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way, I'm so sorry there's nothing I can do about it, but I am here when you want to talk, I am here for you to rant at if you want to. You know, that's what friends are for. None of my friends from sixth form had diabetes at all, but they all understand the condition, they understand how it can be really frustrating sometimes, and even if they don't care, they're still there to listen. You know, the amount of times recently where I've had rants to my friends and they've not had anything constructive to tell me back because they're not doctors and nurses, and obviously I know diabetes better than them, but it's just nice that they can be like, yeah, that's actually really crap, I'm really sorry. And it just feels nice to have that burden kind of lifted away from just your shoulders. And as much as it doesn't matter whether these friends or family members understand diabetes, it is also super helpful to have one or two family members that do really understand the condition, that can help you when you're struggling. Sometimes decision fatigue is a real thing. Like, everyone suffers from decision fatigue, but with diabetes it is so common because you are making so many more decisions. I saw something once that said as a type 1 diabetic you make 180 more decisions than the average person every single day. So sometimes if there's a situation where you're not 100% sure what insulin you should be taking, if you're kind of struggling to choose between two numbers, sometimes just running the situation by someone who understands diabetes and understands your insulin ratios and your insulin sensitivity and the factors that affect your personal blood sugars, and you run the situation by them and they can give you their feedback on what they think you should do. And it reassures you that you're not just, you know, like plucking numbers out of thin air in a desperate attempt to do things right. When you've got someone else that can run through things logically with you, it can really help in that decision making process. And even, for example, having people that can just physically do some of the diabetes things for you. So sometimes if I'm having a week around my period where I keep going low in the night but I'm really struggling with lack of sleep, sometimes James will go to bed later than me, and then before he goes to bed he will just scan my Libra for me, and then if it looks like I'm going low he will wake me up. If it looks like I'm fine, then I don't have to be woken up, and James is up anyway so he might as well do it. And it just means that you can catch up on your sleep without worrying about things like that. So getting a parent or a partner to do things like that for you can honestly make the world of difference if you're having a bad moment with your diabetes. But of course it is also nice to talk to people who actually have the condition, because as much as people try to understand and are there to help, if they don't have type 1 diabetes, they don't understand the weight of the strain that is on you every single day. So talking to people with the condition is amazing, like really amazing for your mental health with the condition. Whether that's asking at your hospital if they have any kind of programs to connect you with diabetics. I did this like 10 years ago now and met one of my best friends through the diabetic clinic at the hospital, or whether that is going on blogs or social media channels like this one or Instagram. I have a separate Instagram account at Diabetic Becky Fitness where basically what it says on the tin. I share how I stay healthy and active with type 1 diabetes, and there is such a great community, and we are always DMing each other and putting up polls of like, what should I do in this situation, or saying like, does anyone have any advice for this situation? You know, if someone is drinking alcohol for the first time with diabetes, or someone is finding that suddenly they're experiencing the dawn effect or whatever, they'll put a little poll up on their story and everyone replies and shares their advice, and it's just so nice to have people that are also living with the condition there to share their own experiences. But one thing that I think is really important to say about the online diabetes community, as fantastic and incredible as it is that if you find that you are following loads of people that seem to have perfect blood sugars all the time, and you feel like you're never going to be as good as them, or you're a bad diabetic in comparison to them, and watching them and their blood sugar management is kind of making you feel bad about your own blood sugar management, instead of inspiring you to try new things with your diabetes and inspiring you to try and get your blood sugars more in check, then you should unfollow these people, get rid of them from your site, from view, and just follow the people that are sharing the kind of content that you find helpful and isn't going to make you feel like a bad diabetic. Another thing where you kind of need to assess your own situation is, like I said, diabetes does not give you a break, but sometimes it is okay to take a step back and put it slightly lower down on the priority list. If you are in range a lot of the time and throughout the week your blood sugars are stable and you are enjoying life while also having great blood sugars, but you feel like you're still kind of micromanaging and you haven't been able to get away from your diabetes, I think occasionally at the weekend it is okay to take breaks from it. And I don't mean stop testing your blood sugar and stop injecting, no, I mean stop testing your blood sugar every hour just to check, and stop micromanaging every single aspect of your day, and stop worrying about the next meal, and just enjoy life as you want to enjoy life. Take your insulin when you need to take your insulin, do your carb counting, check your blood sugars, but just do it on a smaller scale so that you're not worrying constantly about your sugars. You know, go out with your friends and just enjoy yourself, forget that you're a diabetic for a little bit, and then when you get back to it, just make sure you are on top of your blood sugars again. Some people even take it a step further. If you are on a Libra or a Dexcom or some kind of CGM or constant glucose monitor, having those numbers constantly telling you how good you are on like a scale and having constant data analysis of your blood sugar management is overwhelming, like really overwhelming, and can be a lot of data to take in. And if you're having a bad day with your diabetes anyway, and then your sensor is like, oh, you've got like 10% time in target, or like your average blood sugar for the week suddenly shoots up because you're really struggling that day, it can be really disheartening. So it is 100% okay to take a break from that, whether you let your sensor run out and then don't put another one on for a day or 2 days or a week, and you have a complete break from the numbers and you check your blood sugar manually, or whether you decide that you're just going to go out for a walk for like a few hours, or you're going to go and see a friend for a few hours, and you leave your phone or your scanner at home, so you have to take a finger pricker with you and do it manually, because I'm much less likely to check my blood sugar just out of habit, just out of curiosity, if I've got to finger prick. Whereas sometimes if I'm just like walking around the house or out and about with my phone, I'll just scan just to see. Whereas you're not going to do that if you don't have it with you and you have to actually finger prick. So you still have the option to check your blood sugar when you need to, but you haven't got this subconscious feeling like I should check my blood sugar now just because. So taking a break, whether it's not applying a sensor for a few days or just leaving your scanner or whatever you use to check your sugars at home other than a finger prick test, do that and take a break from the numbers. It's okay, because you're likely to come back from it feeling refreshed and ready to really hit it a lot better. And then when you are ready to get back in the swing of things, don't hate yourself if you're not where you want to be again straight away. If you've taken a weekend away where you're relaxing and you're, I don't know, drinking and eating like loads of carbs and injecting when you need to but not micromanaging, it can be difficult getting back into the swing of things. So don't hate yourself and don't think that suddenly you're a bad diabetic because you're not on it straight away. Remind yourself that you took a break for a reason. and now you're ready to get back in target, you're ready to get back on top of your control, but you're going to do it at a speed that is suitable for you so that you don't hit burnout straight away again. I've just done this. I just went on a girls' weekend away and it was so nice. My time in target was probably somewhere around, I think day 1 it was like 60% and day 2 it was like 40% because I just really struggled. Also, my insulin got really hot during the day because I forgot to take my Frio pack out, so I think my insulin basically didn't work, so that didn't help. And I was a bit stressed, not gonna lie, because I could see my blood sugars climbing and it was a struggle to get them back down, but I didn't let that ruin the weekend because the whole week before I'd been 90% plus in target, so I knew these 2 days they're not gonna kill me, and I just need to enjoy myself and be like, okay, when I get back, just gonna change my insulin cartridges. I don't know if my insulin has stopped working, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, so I changed my insulin cartridges, got back on it, and today I've been in target all of the time so far. So it's just doing what you can where you can, taking a break, and then getting back to routine. Hope you guys have found this video useful. I'm sorry if it's started kind of negative, just like listing like diabetes is bad because of this and this and this, but I kind of wanted to explain where diabetes burnout can come from if you're someone that hasn't yet experienced it yet, or you're not sure why you're having these feelings. This is why, and they're completely valid feelings to be having. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other tips for dealing with diabetes burnout, because I know everybody would love to hear them. It is such a common thing that happens as a type 1 diabetic, but people just don't talk about it very much. So I think it's important to open up that conversation and yeah, just explain that you're not a bad person or a bad diabetic because you're having burnout. That is it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.